Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University. I'm your host, Athena Moberg, and with us in the green room in just one moment will be your co-host and my esteemed colleague, Bobby Parrish. We are having some tech issues this evening. Typically, we would have started about 23 minutes ago on this live Q&A Monday, but for some reason, something happened with Google today and the login for our live events has changed. So we do sincerely apologize for this delay. As always, I want to give a very special welcome to anyone listening in on a podcast platform. We are working towards establishing an audience very soon on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. And so if that is you and you are hearing this on a replay, thank you for listening. This is a live video broadcast. So if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Trauma Recovery University TV, or if you are not one of our Roku subscribers on Roku TV, you can purchase any Roku device from anywhere Rokus are sold. You can go to roku.tv, or I believe they're at Walmart or even Best Buy. And we have our Roku channel, which is also Trauma Recovery University. And as always, as a thank you for being a loyal listener, viewer, subscriber, or just an awesome survivor, we have a complimentary one-page downloadable resource for you. And that's just a thank you for being here with us, for being a part of our global survivor community that, as you know, is in 64 countries now. So welcome, welcome. We have that complimentary resource for you. And every week we have a one-page downloadable. You can find those on one of our websites. Either go to traumarecoveryuniversity.com or go to nomoreshameproject.com. Click on a tab that says Downloadables. You'll be taken to an access page where you'll be asked for your email address. You give your email address and you're emailed immediately access to not only tonight's downloadable one-page resource, but to our entire library of downloadable one-page resources. So welcome. If this is your first time joining us, this is live Q&A Monday. And it looks like we have a few people tuning in. I know it kind of threw everybody for a loop because we are very, very late today tuning in and broadcasting because of the problems with the software. So Bobby, my amazing partner, for some reason, we've been having some tech issues with Google, and today, usually it's me, today it's her. So the tech gremlins seem to have gotten us today. So I'm going to go ahead and run you through just a brief synopsis of who we are and why we show up and do what we do every single week. I'm Athena Moberg. I'm an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse and exploitation. And Bobby, my business partner, is also an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse. And we, along with our dear friend, Rachel Thompson started a Twitter chat back in January of 2014, which it's hashtag sex abuse chat. Quickly, the theme of that chat morphed into hashtag no more shame, hence the No More Shame Project. It was born. And we started recording weekly videos. We published an anthology, which you can find on Amazon. Just search for No More Shame Project Anthology Volume 1. And we got picked up by a publisher. We've published a few books since then. And here we are in almost 2 years of Q&A Mondays, which used to be on Wednesdays if you're viewing some of our older videos. So every week we show up with a different topic, and we have 3 Twitter chats. During the month of April, during Child Abuse Awareness Month, it is 4 Twitter chats. And those hashtags are Sex Abuse Chat, CSAQT, which stands for Child Sexual Abuse Question Time, hashtag Sex Abuse Chat, which of course is the original Sex Abuse Chat. That's on Tuesdays. And during the month of April, on Wednesdays, we have Survivor Steps. So we look forward to joining you there. Bobby just sent me a message that she's rebooting right now. She will be joining us. So this week's topic is struggles with intimacy during recovery from child abuse. So So intimacy is a loaded topic. Now, we have discussed intimacy on this broadcast previously. We have had several Twitter chats discussing different relationship dynamics, and just boundaries, healthy relationships, what do they look like, how to break the cycle of abusive relationships. But we've never really delved into this delicate topic of how to foster an environment of true intimacy, including sexual intimacy, physical intimacy. So we're going to pull that apart a little bit. We want to issue a trigger warning. A trigger warning for everyone who is tuning in right now means that if you are easily triggered, if you have PTSD or you're living with any other type of mental health limitation that surrounds any type of previous assault, specifically childhood trauma. If you are a child abuse survivor, this could be triggering for you. We ask that while you're on the hashtag tonight, hashtag no more shame, tweet your questions, communicate with one another, support one another. Thank you. You're amazing. They're the most incredible global audience of people that show up early and just communicate with one another. However, if you are triggered or you're in crisis, please, please, please do not reach out in crisis, panicking, seeking help on the hashtag. Why is that? I had someone in our community ask, why is it that is a rule during your Twitter chats? The reason seeking crisis help on the hashtag, if you are in crisis or struggling or triggered, is not recommended and not welcome during our Twitter chats is because it triggers other participants. Other people are showing up on the hashtag and showing up here on the live video feed to receive support. They're an adult survivor of child abuse, probably specifically childhood sexual abuse or incest or trafficking. And when they see that you're triggered, it triggers them and they're unable to be ministered to and cared for. So in an effort to keep everyone in mind and to take into consideration other survivors, we ask that you instead reach out to our friends over at RAINN.org. That's RAINN.org. That stands for Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. They have a live 24/7 chat feature on their website. And if you are a male survivor, our male community is growing. We are so, so, so excited. We really have a deep desire to join the movement of helping male survivors of sexual assault to receive the proper care that they deserve. And there is a website specifically for men, and it's called 1in6.org. That's the number 1, IN, the number 6.org. And it's 1 in 6 boys, and that's 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused prior to their 18th birthday. And 1 in 4 girls are sexually abused prior to their 18th birthday. That is where the name 1in6.org comes from. So I digress. I just want to welcome everyone. If you are in the UK, we have a very, very, very large audience in the UK. Anywhere in the UK, that's including Ireland, England, anywhere, you can reach out to the Samaritans. Now, the Samaritans, you can go to their website, samaritans.org, or you can actually email someone there who will respond to you and provide crisis support for you. Her name is Jo. So you can email her at jo@samaritans.org. And we also have some telephone numbers for you in the UK, as well as our growing audience down in Australia, where you can actually call and receive telephone support if you are triggered or in crisis. I don't have those numbers with me right now. Normally, my amazing partner, Bobby Parrish, will have all of those resources for you. And unfortunately, she is having trouble getting back in to our broadcast. Oh, goodness. I'm hoping that she comes back, you guys. This is what happens when you do live, anything live. People that do like live television and live broadcasting, this is like the kind of stuff that goes on. That's why we were 30 minutes late today. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to share with you guys, since I was sharing with you earlier that we have we have 3 or 4 Twitter chats per week where we show up and we provide support to the adult survivor of child abuse community, specifically childhood sexual abuse. So this morning we have our chat, which is hashtag CSAQT, and that's geared more towards our UK audience. That is at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And the topic, of course, is struggles with intimacy in child abuse recovery. So we had several people this morning just sharing from their heart and sharing just some anxiety around the topic of intimacy in recovery, and just struggles with intimacy in recovery from childhood sexual abuse. I just want to encourage you guys, if you are an adult or you know someone who is an adult that is in recovery for child abuse and you are struggling with intimacy, you are not alone. We're going to delve into our comprehensive one-page in a little bit as soon as Bobby gets back on here. I'm hoping we don't have to pause this live broadcast and come back because I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But I just want to encourage you, if you are an adult survivor of child abuse and you're struggling with intimacy, you're not alone. First of all, I've been doing lots of research on this topic of intimacy and struggles with intimacy. And across the board, whether you're a survivor or whether you had a relatively healthy childhood, adolescent, young adulthood, and here you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even if your life was relatively trauma-free and you're not an incest survivor, you were never raped, you were never tortured, you were never abused. Struggles with intimacy are across the board. Everyone has struggles with intimacy, and not struggles to the degree that survivors struggle with intimacy, but they do have struggles. So I just want to encourage you that if that's you, you are not alone. My business partner and I, Bobby, we have set up globally accessible safe groups for adult survivors of child abuse. If you would like to get plugged into Safe Community and you're not already plugged into one of our safe communities, they're private, they're secret, they're safe, they're free from predators. And we have a zero tolerance policy for abuse or minimization of any kind. What does that mean? That means that in our groups, there is an environment of safety that is fostered. And that means that anyone that shows up with any type of an abusive attitude or a minimizing tone to their posts, minimizing the abuse that you've gone through, like, why don't you just get over that? Or it's been 20, 30, 40, 50 years. What's your problem? That's not really allowed. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with my business partner, Bobby Parrish, she's been a therapist. She was a therapist for 18 years, and she's worked in this field for quite some time. And she's done therapy with children, therapy with couples, marriage and family therapy. And when you minimize another person's experience, no matter what that is not an environment where intimacy can grow. So what is a definition of intimacy and why is it that we struggle? So intimacy, just broken down literally, is now any relationship, by the way. We're going to be discussing, well, I'm hoping that Bobby's going to be able to be logging in here pretty soon. Sorry for the delays, you guys. Oh, I hear you, Bobby. Oh my goodness, yay, she's back. Okay, so I issued a trigger warning, but I was not able to give, I have a little black bar like right above your face. I know that it's just your computer and all that.
I know, but I'm changing.
Oh no, there's like a little like, let me see. I'll stop talking.
That's okay, it'll go away here in a second.
Yay! Oh, you look awesome. Okay, so I issued a trigger warning. Sorry, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. This is live, obviously. This is not edited. So I issued a trigger warning. I welcomed everyone, and I was not able to give them the telephone numbers because I don't have all the telephone numbers for Australia and the UK and America and Canada. I don't have all the, and I didn't even mention Canada. So I didn't give out Rain's number or Samaritan's or our help down in Australia. And I just want you to go ahead and just take it away, Bobby.
Wow, we have just gremlins in the works tonight, you guys. If you are in the UK, you can reach out to the Samaritans, and their phone number is 116-123. You can also email them.
Your microphone is like touching. It's like doing a weird like scratchy thingy.
How does that sound?
Against your cheek. I think it's touching your cheek right here.
It's not.
Oh, wait, there. That's better.
Oh, okay.
It was just going scratchy. It was like doing a weird thing with your hair or something. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So the Samaritans are at 116123. And you can also email them at joe@thesamaritans.org. Or you can reach out, if you're in Australia, to the Australian National Hotline. And that number is 131114. There we go. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us tonight. We have had a flurry, a blizzard of technical issues. So we're so thankful that you are still with us, that you hung around and stuck out with us. And we are excited to cover tonight's topic and hoping that everyone knows and everyone remembers that this can be a very triggering subject. And so if you need to take a break and walk away, please do so, because we don't want you to be here and be stressed or be upset. Especially with this topic, there's no benefit to tying being upset with talking about struggles with intimacy. So just go ahead and take a break and step away. The video will be here later. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, or it will be on Roku TV. So no problem at all if you are triggered. And hopefully, while I'm digging around through my images, Athena can share some comments or questions that might already be coming in.
I am.
Athena,
I'm on the chat stream with everybody right now. Oh, Matt says, "Good Lord, please don't say blizzard. I am so tired of winter." Matt's in Pennsylvania, you guys. I'm sorry, he's like so sick of the cold. Jack,
yes,
you're awesome. We love you. Hi, Sue. Simi's here. Simi in the house. Lindy's here. Hi, Phoenix. Rain. Hi, Rain. Rain is here tonight. Rain Whispers. And hi, Tracy. Tracy is virtually sitting here with me in my office having a glass of wine hanging out. And Laura's here. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, it's crochet time. I absolutely love my crocheted koozie. It's amazing. And no, it's not too stretched out. I think I got a flash of a message coming up, like saying it was too stretched out. It's not too stretched out. It's happy. It loves that glass. So it's all good. Dominique. Hi, Dominique. Allie's here. Hi, Allie. Lucy Grace Faith is here. Hi, August. And Arthenius. Arthenius I believe it's Arthenius's first time here with us. I'm not sure, Arthenius, if you are only on our Twitter stream or if you're here live with us and you're on YouTube as well. And I think that might be everyone. If I left anybody out, I sincerely apologize. Kate's here. Oh, and Andrea. Hi, Andrea Knits. Andrea is here. I'm not sure we've met you before. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Stephanie Lynn. Okay. Oh, and Kalisha. Hi, Kalisha. Oh my gosh, we have so many people. And Inundated Insiders. Marley, Mary Irish Girl is here. We have so many new people. Oh my goodness.
Yay!
I love it when new people come. Okay, you guys. So I just want to greet everyone and just let you all know that, you know, it's never our intention to show up late and be disrespectful of your time. We're going to run through tonight's one page as quickly as possible and go ahead and always at the very, very end, after we present our comprehensive one page, and we'll go ahead and show you how to get welcomed into Safe Community and how you can be a part of our growing community, growing global community of adult survivors of child abuse in now 64 countries. 64 is the final number right now, I think, Bobby, right? We haven't updated. I haven't looked at the analytics.
I think no, to the best, that's it.
Yeah.
It's still 64.
I think it's still 64. But still, you guys, we're just a couple of girls in our, like, living rooms on our laptops trying to change the world. And here we are in 64 countries, and it is so humbling. And it's still really surreal to kind of say that out loud sometimes. So thanks for just celebrating these moments with us on Mondays and being here. So I posted on Facebook today and in Anchor and on other social media platforms, hoping that I would be able to sort of just really forward an invitation to a lot of the people that we haven't really had an opportunity to interact with, because so many of you are on Twitter with us, in our private groups with us, and on YouTube with us. But we don't really post a lot publicly on Facebook and invite a lot of people in. We don't really get that much attendance when we do. So hopefully some of all of you that are here are actually, maybe if you're here for the first time and this is your very first time, this is not how it always goes. It's usually just a little bit smoother with less tech gremlins. So welcome if this is your first time. We're so happy you're here. And, Bobby and I consider it a privilege to spend this hour and a half with you every single week answering your questions. So I know there haven't been a lot of questions come in on this topic. Everyone is just basically greeting one another, Bobby.
Yay!
I mean, they're all just sort of hanging out, and I think, honestly, the vibe I'm getting from all the direct messages and the private messages and the emails and the texts I've been getting, honestly, people are sort of bracing themselves. Now, there's sort of a vibe that I'm getting. Maybe I'm feeling it wrong, but this is the vibe I'm getting. At least I got this from a couple clients as well. They're sort of bracing themselves for the topic of intimacy, specifically struggles with intimacy, because intimacy across the board, not even just in the survivor community, is a touchy subject. Intimacy is intimate. The definition of intimate is something that is close and special. And so there are still many people that have a difficult time understanding that relationships on social media that are virtual, or relationships that are newer in the making, relationships that don't involve physical contact or even sex, they have a hard time sort of grasping the concept of that relationship having the ability to be intimate. Now, Bobby, you and I know what it's like to cultivate and establish and maintain a beautiful, intimate, healthy business relationship and friendship virtually without even being in contact, because we're in two different states 5,000 miles away from one another. So I would love to just hear your comments and your encouragement to our audience regarding the topic of intimacy from a professional perspective, and how intimacy sort of can be cultivated and fostered virtually and doesn't need to require sex. I would just love to hear your loose take on that, because I know we go into it in depth on our one page, but I just want to hear you talk because I love hearing you talk. So go for it. Can you hear me? I don't think she heard me.
I'm so sorry. Good grief.
I was asking if you wanted to comment on intimacy and how it can be fostered. I would love to hear you talk. I just want to hear you talk.
I agree. I think when we talk about the word intimacy, people automatically go to the thought of physical relationship. But that is something that we want to debunk, that anyone can have an intimate relationship with another if they desire to foster that relationship. And intimacy has so much more to do with trust, open and honest communication, respect, kindness, compassion, acceptance, than it does physicality. And that's one of the things that we're really going to stress tonight when we get to the point where we talk about a physical intimacy within a partner relationship, is if you don't have that emotional intimacy, it's not going to be the relationship that you want it to be. And this morning in chat, if you're not familiar with us, we have 3 Twitter chats a week. The first one is at noon Eastern time.
I think it's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock Eastern right now.
Okay.
It's 10 Pacific right now. So 11,
okay.
12, 1.
Okay, 10 o'clock Pacific time on Monday mornings, and that's primarily due to a request from our UK audience to have a chat that was more conducive to their time zone rather than 2 o'clock in the morning, which is when this one is and when our Tuesday night one is for them. And this morning, a lot of people, in terms of giving words to their struggles with intimacy, it was as much of a struggle with the physical part as it was the emotional intimacy. And that people were talking about how without that piece, the physical intimacy, that relationship was just hard. Of course, as survivors of sexual abuse, there are probably for 99% of us going to be issues that come up around physical intimacy. And it's not your fault, okay? This morning people talked about how devastated they were that they could not enjoy an intimate relationship with their partner. And they feel guilty, but it's not your fault, okay? Anything that you struggle with as a result of your childhood abuse, the grooming, the abuse specifically, is not your fault. You are not intentionally seeking to withhold something from your partner. You are not intentionally seeking to cheat your partner. You're not doing anything intentionally. You're doing what you need to do to cope and survive. Does it make things hard? Yes, but that doesn't mean it's your fault, okay? I want everyone out there who struggles with physical intimacy in their partner relationship to know this is not your fault. You are not doing anything wrong. You can do some things to make things better, but that doesn't mean that it's your fault. Okay? So we're going to go through tonight, we're going to talk about the different things that contribute to a healthy, intimate relationship. And then some things that you can do to make your relationship with your friend, family members, your partner, more healthy, so that you can have a physically intimate relationship that meets both your needs. This morning we talked a lot about that too, about how there needs to be so much reciprocity in relationships, okay? That as survivors, many of us are used to feeling like we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. And we take this into relationships, and it looks a little bit like codependency. When we go into a relationship and our partner's not happy, we own all of that. And we figure that it's our fault and we have to fix it. But the reality is that we have to take care of ourselves as much as we take care of the relationship. Okay? It's not your fault. But we're going to talk about some ways that you can take care of yourself and that you can invest in your relationship so that it's healthy. But that relationship can't be healthy without both partners working on it and investing. I love that word, investing in it. Okay?
And it is an investment, you guys.
Yes.
Like, I mean, think about what we invest in. Think about the things that people invest in, just in general, right? People invest in a 401k. Why? Because they want to plan for their future. People invest in their education. Why? Because they want to plan for their career or plan for their future. I mean, it's when you invest in something, you're placing value in it and you are holding it in high regard. So if intimacy and a relationship with someone is important to you, anything that is important and worth having is worth investing in. It's just true. If Bobby and I didn't have reciprocity in our relationship and she didn't feel that I cared or put as much emphasis or focus or dedication into the business that we have grown together over the past year and a half, almost 2 years, then our business would fail to exist. If my husband didn't feel that he could trust me, if there was not open dialogue and open communication with Bobby and I, or with my husband and I, or with my son and my daughter-in-law and I, like I just got a random phone call from them today, from both of them, and it was so. I was just surprised to hear from them, but that is them. Anytime they choose to pick up the phone and call me or send me a text message, that's them investing in the relationship. So anything worth having and anything that is important to you, whether it's an education or a career or a future or a retirement or a home, we invest in our home. Homes are an investment. Anything worth having and worth holding as important is worth investing in. So I think that's always important. I know that it sounds like we're saying things that are very like redundant, but it's very important to say these things out loud. I think sometimes things get skimmed over and they're not, the level of importance that needs to be paid to them is not paid to them. So we do have a one page that we can go ahead and pop up and share with you. It looks like Bobby might have popped back out real quick. I don't know exactly if she's having some tech issues, but I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of comments here from everyone. Let's see. I think the biggest struggle with intimacy, this is Kate, is that our abuse was the closest thing we got to intimacy as a child. So Kate, I'm so glad that you made that comment. So it's interesting because in the one page, like when we go in a little bit and we start discussing it, we're going to really delve into the fact that true intimacy, true physical intimacy cannot be achieved or experienced without emotional intimacy. And so the closest thing to physical intimacy we received, or the closest thing to intimacy we received as children, was our abuse. That is so true, Kate. And how twisted is that? So if a child is being raped by an adult, or fondled or molested or abused or mistreated or sold or traded for goods and services, or treated poorly or manipulated or used as a pawn, and that is passed off as intimacy, what does that set us up for in the future? That sets us up for abusive and contorted and distorted relationships. Sorry excuses for relationships. So that is why a lot of times survivors of child abuse struggle with not only grasping the concept of a healthy relationship, healthy friendship, or healthy relationship with ourselves, let alone a healthy romantic partnership. The closest thing they had to quote unquote intimacy, in air quotes, not real intimacy, was abuse, manipulation, or fondling, or rape. It was not something two adults consenting and investing in a relationship because they're children. So that begs the question, Kate, it begs the question, what type of environment would be conducive to teaching a child what healthy relationships would look like when they get older? This is my answer. So if a child is raised in an environment, and the environment that they experience on a regular basis, I'm not talking every day, no one's perfect. Okay, all parents make mistakes. We're human. We're flawed human beings. We're just flawed. And we're going to lose our temper, and we're going to raise our voice, and we're going to snap, and we're going to say things we wish we wouldn't have. We're going to do things we wish we didn't do. We're going to act in ways that we're embarrassed about later. But an environment for a child that fosters relationship skills and sets them up for success in the future to cultivate healthy adult relationships, that environment is one of nurturing, patience, kindness, trust, and endless supplies of grace and mercy. So what does that look like? That looks like when your child wakes up in the morning and they don't want to get out of bed, and they're frustrated, and they're like, no, I don't want to wake up. And what that looks like from you, the parent's perspective, is you being patient with them, endless supply of patience, maybe going in earlier if you're worried about being late, and starting to wake them up just a little bit earlier, giving them some time to wake up. Sometimes they can't wake right up. Not everyone can wake right up, just right up out of his sleep and be chipper and happy. Like, that just isn't reality for everybody. So being patient with your children. Trust. That's you trusting them once you teach them what trust looks like, and them being able to trust you. So what does a trustworthy adult look like? A trustworthy adult is someone who behaves in a way that is worthy of trust. That means over time, you behave in a way that is loving, that is kind, that is nurturing, that is caring, that is setting a good example. You are a good role model. You are behaving in a way that you would be proud if your children grew up to turn out just like you. So, oh, Bobby's texting that she's having a hard time getting back on. I don't know how to handle this right now. This is the only time this has ever happened. I've never had it happen this way. I'm going to ask her if she wants to hang out on the chat stream. Sorry about this, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up our one page, and Bobby is going to go ahead and go over and hang out in the Twitter stream with you guys, answering your questions. So just be patient with me really quick while I bring up our one page. Bobby is usually the one who does all this fancy stuff. So just be super patient with me as I bring it up. This topic of intimacy, and I know I didn't answer everybody else's questions. Will one of you guys please tweet Bobby and let Bobby know that I answered Kate's question about, I answered Kate's question. Oops, I lost her question. I answered Kate's question. So would someone tweet Bobby and just let her know that real quick so I can bring this up? All right. Okay. Here we go. Thanks for your patience, you guys. All right. Screen share, where did you go? Okay. So tonight's one page, struggles with intimacy. I know I need to, okay, I'm presenting to all of you guys. All right, so growing up in a chaotic, abusive, and or dysfunctional family can significantly impair a child's capacity to have healthy relationships as an adult. We certainly don't have them modeled for us if there is abuse present in the home, nor do we learn essential relationship skills such as how to trust, communicate in healthy ways, set boundaries, or develop interdependence. Now, this is really important for you guys to really give yourselves a lot of grace in. Healthy relationships were not modeled for you if the family of origin you grew up in was dysfunctional or abusive. That includes incarceration, raising of voices, the silent treatment, all kinds of different ways that people can choose to withhold their love from you. So essential relationship skills must be taught in childhood if you're going to experience all the life that you were created to live. So I'm just asking you guys, please be patient with yourselves. Moving down to the second paragraph. We also don't get a chance to establish healthy relationship with ourselves. How do you see yourself? I know that's a very touchy question for 100% of my clients. How do you see yourself? Do you identify yourself? Is your identity in the fact that you're a mom? Is your identity in that you are broken, beyond repair, or that you're struggling? Is your identity in the fact that you are a a great sales clerk and you are the top salesperson? Is your identity caught up in other things, or do you see yourself in a true image? Like, do you see the true image of yourself? Now, I know that many of you are not women and men of faith. I'm a woman of faith, and I choose to learn how to see myself the way the Bible says that I look and what God says about me. So he says that I was fearfully and wonderfully made. He says I was created for a purpose and that I am good. Those are things that that he says about me. Oh, someone just said that you guys lost me. I'm hoping you guys can still hear me. I'm going to keep on going. So how do you see yourself? Many survivors struggle with self-worth, self-respect, and how to honor our limitations. We may not even have a clear idea of who we are, separate from our identity as a survivor of childhood abuse. All of these things will impede our capacity to be involved in a healthy, intimate relationship. Oh, yay! Oh, Matt still sees me. Yay! Okay. All right. I'm hoping you guys can still see this. Okay, so how do you see yourself? So many survivors struggle with self-worth, self-respect, and how to honor our limitations. We may not even have a clear idea of who we are separate from our identity as a survivor of childhood abuse. All of these things will impede our capacity to be involved in a healthy, intimate relationship. You guys, this is something that I really, really, really hope that is something that you can receive. I know my clients have a really hard time receiving the fact that their progress is impeded. I know that they struggle with the pace in which they are progressing. Every single one of my clients is frustrated at one point or another. I'm struggling. I'm frustrated. I just want to be done with this already. This was 40 years ago. This was 30 years ago. This was 50 years ago, Athena. And I just want to be done. I'm just done. I just need to be done. And I'm here to tell you, you guys, that's not the reality. We can't unbake the cake. And if Bobby were here on the line live with me, she would share the same thing with you. She would share that you need to give yourself an endless supply of grace and that you need to be patient with yourselves. I'm going to move down to the third paragraph. It's important to remember that any relationship can have emotional intimacy. And we touched on this earlier in the broadcast. A close and personal connection involving trust, compassion, and open communication. In fact, for us to engage in healthy physical intimacy, we must have emotional intimacy. So that plays right into the question that Kate asked earlier about our abuse being the closest thing to intimacy that we ever experienced. And it's just such a cheap ripoff of intimacy, you guys. I mean, abuse is just a counterfeit. It's a counterfeit. It's a fake. It's a phony. It's a cheap ripoff of what intimacy should be, and it teaches us wrong. It's something we learn, and now we have to unlearn it. So without that emotional intimacy, a physically intimate relationship can be very problematic, traumatizing, and even impossible for survivors of childhood abuse. A healthy, physically intimate relationship requires the following. I'm going to go ahead and move down here, you guys. Trust. We mentioned this a little bit earlier. Without trust, we cannot feel secure enough to engage 100% with our partners. Now, keep in mind, we are talking about physically intimate relationships between two consenting adults. I'm going to say that again. Trust between two consenting adults. A healthy physical intimate relationship between two consenting adults. This is never, ever, ever appropriate. We are never talking about a physical relationship between an adult and a child. That is wrong and inappropriate 100% of the time. And it is never, ever, ever the fault of the child. A child is a child and therefore is not old enough to give consent. We did not consent to our abuse. We didn't have a choice. I hear Bobby's voice right now just talking and sharing with you guys. She always drives home that now we have a choice. You guys, our choice was taken away from us when we were little. We weren't given a choice. We couldn't choose whether or not we could be abused. There were ramifications. There were repercussions. Now we are adults and we want to foster an environment where healthy, physical, intimate relationship can be developed. So this is what it will require: trust, open and honest communication, the capacity to discuss all details of our intimate relationship, including our sexual abuse. Now that can be frightening for some survivors. They're wondering, how can I possibly share with my partner that I've been sexually abused? How can I possibly share that now? We've already been married for a while and I'm just now having memories. They're not going to believe me. Just stick with us and as we move down here, and you'll begin to see that it is possible with healthy communication. So I'm going to move down to reciprocity. Number 3, intimacy is a two-way street. Both partners must be committed and fully engaged. Now, being fully engaged means that when you are speaking, your partner is listening. And when your partner is speaking, you are listening. And that does lend itself to healthy and honest communication. But reciprocity means that when, for instance, my husband is communicating with me his needs or his desires or his fears, that I am paying attention and I'm fully engaged in that conversation. To be fully engaged is the opposite of being checked out. You know how if somebody's just checked out or they're just not fully present and you can tell they're a million miles away? You know that feeling that you can have when you're right next to someone but you feel really, really, really alone? That is because both partners are not fully engaged. And I just want to encourage you that this gets better over time. So I'm going to move down to number 4, compassion. Compassion must exist if a physically intimate relationship will be healthy. We need to know that our partner will not knowingly contribute to our suffering. And we need to be compassionate toward them as well. Now, why do I mention that? The reason I mention that we need to be just as compassionate towards them is because sometimes our partners are afraid that they're going to trigger us. They're afraid that they're going to frighten us or cause us to have a flashback. And that can cause them to feel very uncomfortable as well. I'm not insinuating or suggesting that you manage your partner's emotions, but choosing to be compassionate towards them and knowing that they have needs as well and that they might be feeling like lesser of a man or lesser of a woman because they don't know how to help you. That's a reality, especially when it comes to adult survivors of child abuse. So please be very patient and compassionate with your partners. I'm moving down to number 5, understanding. Both partners need to understand how abuse affects their physical relationship. Now, understanding isn't just someone saying, okay, I get it. Now, that is something that is a poor attitude, and that's not an environment where intimate relationships can be fostered, because we feel marginalized, we feel ignored, we feel minimized, we feel rushed, we feel ignored. And down on the tips and strategies to build a healthy, physically intimate relationship, we'll discuss patience. If you are saying, okay, I get it, I understand, or if your partner is saying, okay, you already told me, I get it, you were abused when you were a child, that is not a safe and understanding environment. And I really, really want to suggest that perhaps you step back and assess that relationship and communicate on an intimate level and really think about the relationship that you're in, and if this is a relationship you want to pursue, if someone is not showing understanding or patience with you. So I'm moving down to I think it's 6. Number 6, respect. I know this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. For both ourselves and our partners, you guys, survivors, have a difficult time with self-respect. We often are very respectful of our partners. We put their needs before ours. We're respectful of them. We love to listen. We love to meet their needs. We love to show them compassion and love, and we just wish that they would give it to us in return. And then sometimes, this is a big old fat truth bomb that's about ready to come out that some people are not going to like. Sometimes when our partners show us mutual respect in return, we, as survivors, are not able to receive the respect that they give us because we have a lack of self-respect, and it feels awkward and it feels incongruent. So I'll say that again. If we are struggling with self-respect because, hello, being violated, raped, abused, fondled, tortured, whatever you name it, exploited as a child from another adult, that is degrading. It's dehumanizing. It's difficult to have any ounce of self-respect when our innocence was stolen from us at a very young age. So if your partner is wanting to show you respect, sometimes we're not able to receive it. Sometimes we think, oh, sure, yeah, right, and we blow it off. I'll never forget when I was in my 20s, and I had this wonderful young man. He invited me to a formal event at his work. He was a vice president of finance for a company, and he invited me to be his date. And someone at this formal event, and I dressed to the nines. I showed up. It was amazing. I loved it. It was great. And I enjoyed myself. But I was unable to understand that this person had real feelings for me. I was unable to receive that the feelings he had for me were real and that they went beyond just wanting me to go to an event with him and look pretty and sort of be arm candy, if you will. I remember there was a colleague of his that came up to me and said, so-and-so, I don't have his permission to talk about this, so I won't mention his name, but so-and-so has told me a lot about you. He's actually talked about you for several months. And I'll never forget my response. I blew it off. I didn't receive it. And I said, oh, right. Yeah. And I just blew it off. And I was unable to, and I didn't realize it until probably 5 or 6 years later, when I was, beginning my recovery journey or sort of like in the middle of my recovery journey. Like this is probably in the early 2000s or something, or maybe it was like the late 90s. I have no idea. It's right around that time. But I was unable to actually I couldn't even conceive that someone would care about me so much to speak highly of me to their colleagues. It was like unheard of. So keep that in mind, you guys. If your partner is trying to show you respect and you have a difficult time receiving it, you're not alone. That is very common with survivors. We were never shown respect, and we lack self-respect. We lack the concept of self-respect, which is why it's so important that we learn the truth about ourselves and develop a healthy relationship with ourselves so that we're able to receive that love and receive that respect from our partners when they decide to show that to us. So on the last bullet point under the top section here, security. Now, security for men ranks a little bit lower on the totem pole statistically than for women. Women, security and safety are number one for them to feel comfortable in their bodies and comfortable to be physical with their partners, statistically. Now, I'm not saying that survivors all match up with that statistic. I'm sure I'm going to get a load of tweets right about now saying that that's not the case. But for me personally, security and safety are number one. If I don't feel secure and safe in my relationship with my husband, and I don't know that he is not going to violate my boundaries and possibly not take me into consideration, I have a hard time letting my guard down, a hard time relaxing and receiving his love. So again, on the last point, security, knowing that our partner will not violate our boundaries is vital if the relationship is to be healthy. So that is just so, so, so true, especially for women. And I'm not leaving out the men. I'm just saying that statistically, supposedly, safety and security are not ranked number one to cultivate an environment of intimacy. And I move on down to tips and strategies on building a healthy, physically intimate relationship. 1 second, I'm just going to move down. I miss having Bobby here. She does all this fun stuff. And I just get to sit on the chat stream and talk with you guys normally. All right, so follow these tips and strategies to build healthy, physically intimate relationships. Have patience. You guys, having patience with ourselves and having patience with our partners is so vital. So proceed slowly in relationships. It takes time to develop emotional intimacy, which should be firmly in place before you even consider physical intimacy. I know that goes without saying, but I just wanted to make sure. Bobby and I feel very strongly that this needs to be said. Proceeding slowly, especially if you're in a brand new relationship, if you're feeling like things are moving way, 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 way too fast. I've never felt like this before. She just gets me. I feel like I've known her all my life and it's only been 4 days. And then they decide that he decides he's going to propose to you within a week. I'm here to tell you that that's a big fat red flag. I want you to Google the term love bomb after this broadcast, and I want you to be mindful of predatory relationships, especially with cluster B personality types. That's people who are living with narcissistic personality disorder, sociopathy, psychopathy. These individuals can be very cunning and very convincing, and they can mirror you in a way that causes you to feel like no one in the whole world understands you the way they do. No one's ever been that patient with you. No one's ever given you that much of their time and attention. If it happens too fast and they're not proceeding slowly and they're not willing to move on your timeline, please, please, please take 2 steps back and invite a safe person from your safe circle that you know. If you don't have a safe circle or a safe online community, please, please reach out to us at the end of the broadcast, which I will go ahead and pop those screen shares up, hopefully, if I can find them. So, which I don't even know if I can find them. This broadcast might not have that, but I'll tell you everything. We're going to move down to number 2. Commit to transparency. Communicate frequently and openly with your partner about your needs and wishes. Listen to their needs as well. We talked about this a little bit earlier on in the broadcast, you guys. We are not the only ones with needs. And while our needs sort of cross over into that category of special needs sometimes, our partners have needs as well. And they need to know that they can help us to feel safe. They need to know that they're a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. My husband has a deep need to know that he is doing all he can and that I am aware of all he is doing to help me in my recovery. He prays for me every single day. He's learning to communicate verbally, which does not come naturally to my husband. My husband was single, most of you know this, for 57 years. He was a bachelor for 57 years until I came around. And he didn't have a child that he was raising. He didn't have daily relationships in his home. So he was often silent. He often just hung out with himself and just learned to love himself, and he just had a great time. So verbally communicating for my husband is a challenge, and he has a deep need for me to be patient with him and for me to remind him gently of what I need. So he needs me to be transparent. He needs me to communicate frequently. And your partner might need that also. Now, Bobby will probably echo on the Twitter stream right now and share with you that verbal communication and consistent, open, transparent communication is vital for any relationship. If Bobby doesn't hear from me or I don't hear from her, we are left to wonder if the other person is okay. I'm not saying if I don't hear from her for 20 minutes or for 1 day or for 2 days, but if we go 3 or 4 or 5 days without hearing from one another, we are both left to wonder if the other person is doing okay. Bobby and I have a very healthy, intimate friendship, and we have a very healthy, intimate business relationship. We discuss every aspect of our business. We are committed to transparency. We are very patient with one another, and we are very heavily vested in the other person's overall well-being, and we verbally communicate that almost more than necessary, because we're both survivors and we both are always wanting to make sure that the other person knows exactly how valued they are and how important they are. So if you haven't told your partner how important they are lately, and you haven't committed to verbally communicating frequently and transparently with them, I challenge you and I urge you to really write that down and make that a goal. Because I guarantee you, when you tell your partner how much you value them and how much you value their transparency and their verbal communication, it could change your whole relationship. It could be a game changer for you guys. Moving down to number 3, establish healthy boundaries. You guys know that I preach boundaries. If I had a church and I was a pastor, my church would probably be called the Boundaries Church, because I preach, boundaries, 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 healthy boundaries. What do I always say? Recovery from childhood sexual abuse of any kind is impossible without healthy boundaries. It is impossible to have a healthy relationship without healthy boundaries. If you don't have healthy boundaries with yourself in place, like a schedule that you follow, holding yourself accountable to your goals and dreams, if you don't have healthy boundaries set with your partner in terms of what you need, there is no relationship. It will go up and down, up and down, up and down like a roller coaster, like a yo-yo. However, and Harriet, if you could please right now pop up in the screen the thumbnail for the boundaries video. I would love for you guys to click on that video. It'll pop up in another browser. Go watch that if you haven't, and download that one page. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Now, one of our fellow community members this morning was mentioning that he prefers not to have doors or gates as boundaries. He prefers to take his bricks down 1 brick at a time from the top. And while that does sound safe, it will take you so much longer to heal if you have a brick wall for a boundary. Pliable. Now, brick wall boundaries are what are called rigid boundaries, and they are not healthy. Now, boundaries that are non-existent or weak boundaries or porous boundaries with holes in them where the bad can get in and the good can get out, that's not healthy either. The healthiest boundaries are pliable boundaries. Now, Jack mentioned something during chat today about building bridges. Now, bridges are good. To build bridges are very, very good. The healthiest boundary, and he'll probably clarify right now in the chat stream, but the healthiest boundaries are gates. A gate that swings open to let the bad out, closes to keep the bad out, and a gate that swings open to let the good in and closes to keep the good in. Those are healthy boundaries. You need to have boundaries that are pliable in order for them to be healthy. And you'll learn way more on this. It's a whole nother video. I can't even go into detail with it right now because we're already running out of time. And I'm not even to the bottom yet. So 4th bullet point, you guys, discuss priorities. Discuss. Here we are again on communication. Jack and Simi, 2 members of our community, have been married for a lot of years. They have had their share, they're both survivors, and they have both had their share of struggles with intimacy. And you want to know what they said today during chat that stuck out to me the most? The key to them getting through the struggles and the key to the relationship becoming healthier was communication. And I am going to go deeper into that on the bottom when I talk about my husband, because verbal communication has saved our marriage. Spiritual communication, like praying for one another and spending time together and really connecting on like a heart level, has saved our marriage. And so I'm going to discuss priorities really quick. Physical intimacy should never be the priority in your relationship. Always focus on emotional intimacy first and foremost. We discussed this earlier in the broadcast, you guys. Emotional intimacy is a precursor for healthy physical intimacy. You will never experience true, healthy, sustainable physical intimacy without emotional intimacy. Could you have great sex? You certainly can. You can have hot, steamy, lust-filled, awesome, amazing sex without emotional intimacy. But guess what? Usually that type of encounter leaves one or both parties feeling used or discarded or ashamed or thrown to the side, and it doesn't establish a sustainable long-term environment where intimacy can be cultivated and nurtured. It just doesn't. Physical intimacy comes after emotional intimacy if it is to be healthy or considered healthy. So I hope that that wasn't triggering for you guys, because I'm talking about hot, steamy sex, but you know, I've sort of tiptoed around this topic for the last hour. So here we go. I'm going down to the very, very bottom on the importance of verbal communication. When choosing to discuss your needs surrounding your childhood sexual abuse, please think ahead and set yourself up for success. Do your best not to have important discussions during a time of being rushed or when you have somewhere to be. When I, personally, this is me, Athena speaking, when I have new memories or I'm feeling triggered or I know that I really need to communicate a need to my husband, I pause. Usually I pray. And I think of the best time that I can plan to have that discussion. I take the time to pray and I ask my husband, whether it's on a text message or I call him, or if we're home, I walk up and I talk with him, and I don't just assume. I want to pause right here, and I want to just give a big old trigger warning, because this is going to trigger some people. Please do not assume. Please do not ever, 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 ever assume that your partner is ready to have this talk with you. Please don't assume that your partner is ready to hear about your abuse if they are in the middle of fixing the toilet or mowing the lawn or doing the dishes or vacuuming or taking a nap or reading a book or hanging out with someone or whatever. Please don't ever assume that the time is great to spontaneously discuss something as important as your childhood sexual abuse and the triggers that it caused, or if you have brain damage, like I myself and many of our survivors, you guys all know this, we live with permanent brain damage because as a result of long-term ongoing sexual abuse as a child. Please do not ever assume that it is just a great time to discuss these important topics on the fly. On the fly is probably not ever going to be a great time. It is just not. Please, 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 if you take away anything, plan ahead. I take the time to pray. I ask my husband, when would be the best time for us to sit down and talk? And I wait patiently for him to reply. If he doesn't reply in 15 minutes to my text, am I going to get upset? No. I know that he has a life. I know that he has a job. I know that he has priorities. And yes, he's my husband and I'm a priority. But you guys, this is an important topic. If something is this important, it deserves to be planned and taken care of and handled with kid gloves, or handled carefully and tenderly and with great respect. So please, this is the next point. Please remember, your partner's not psychic. They are not psychic. Guess what? My husband's not psychic. Oh my goodness, he's not. Is he wonderful? Yes. I am blessed with the most wonderful husband in the whole wide world. I know, girls, eat your hearts out. But hey, Jim's amazing. And he's not psychic. Is he amazing? Is he wonderful? Is he patient? Is he kind? Yes, but he is not psychic. And I got to tell you, I am shocked every single time when he has to remind me that he's not psychic. Because I'm preaching to myself as much as I'm sharing with you guys. Please remember that your partner's not psychic. They have needs. My husband has a deep, deep need to be in the right mindset, the right frame of mind to have these discussions with me. He has his own set of circumstances. So I'm going to continue reading. My partner is not psychic. He has needs. They have their own set of circumstances. And always remember they love you. My husband loves me. He loves me. He is cheering me on. He wants what's best for me. He assumes the best in me. And if you don't already know that about your partner, okay, light bulb moment here. Dominique, honey, this one's for you. Guess what? Ask them. Ask them. Do you love me? Are you thinking of me? Do you want what's best for me? Do you feel comfortable talking with me about what I'm about ready to talk with you about? I think I need to hear that you love me and that you care about me and that you want what's best for me and that you're okay with being patient with me. Can you please just tell me that? Can you please just tell me that you love me and that you're okay with being patient with me and that you don't feel ripped off because you got married to the sexual abuse girl? Like, I've literally had to say those things. You guys know from previous broadcasts, like when I was decorating for Christmas, I had to stop and go, can you please tell me what you think of the decorations? Because I think I have this like crappy old tape playing in my head, this like inner critic telling me you hate my Christmas decorations. And he's like, no, I think they're amazing. First of all, I think you're amazing. Second of all, I could never decorate like that. So this is another one of those moments, you guys, mind blown, right? You can ask. You can say, can you please tell me that you love me? Tell me what you think of me right now. And can you tell me that I'm awesome? And can you just tell me that it's okay, that you don't feel ripped off, that you got married to the sexual abuse survivor and that you don't feel like you got the short end of the stick? Because I need to hear that right now. You guys, it's okay. If you're in a safe relationship, sometimes like Bobby and I already shared with you that we have a very, very, very healthy relationship. I will literally be in a business meeting with Bobby and I will tell her, Bobby, I think I need you to tell me that this is okay. Can you please just tell me if this is okay? Like, I think I need to hear it. And she'll not ever just tell me what I want to hear. She'll think about it, process it, ask me a couple of questions, and then she will tell me what I needed to hear. Because honestly, sometimes you guys, we just need to be given permission. We just need to be told that we're loved. We just need to be told that we're not broken beyond all repair and that we're not unwanted. And we need to be told that our partners don't think that we're ridiculous and that they think we suck and that they feel like they got the short end of the stick. Sometimes we need to hear those things. Okay? I have a whole group of people that I know that think it's ridiculous that we need to give ourselves permission to do things. Oh, isn't it ridiculous that this vernacular in 2016 is that we need to give ourselves permission? I'm here to tell you that it's not ridiculous. Survivors of childhood trauma need to be told that it's okay to feel the way they feel. Survivors of childhood trauma need to be told that it's okay that they get triggered and that it's okay that they're moving at a slower pace and that it's okay that they have doubts about who they are and what they're about and if they're loved and if they're cared for and if they're safe. It is okay. I am here to give you permission to ask a safe person to tell you something that you should probably already know. Moving on in the dialogue here down below. Sometimes when we are triggered or in the middle of an emotional flashback of our rape or abuse, torture, molestation, etc., it is easy for us as survivors to hope that our partners will automatically know where we are mentally and emotionally or how we are feeling, but they're not psychic. And here's the truth bomb. This is the big light bulb here. Every single time that I have had the courage to share with my husband where I am in my recovery journey, he has expressed to me how surprised he was, because to him, it seemed like I was doing fine. He thought I was just doing totally fine. He had no idea what was going on inside my head. The voices in my head, they only talk to me. They don't talk to my husband. Go figure. So please, please, please be patient with you guys. I know this was a really long one and we're running kind of low on time. So here we go. Oops, stop. Hopefully, oh, hello, we are back. Oh no, people are talking about how they're overwhelmed. I'm so sorry this is overwhelming. This is a very overwhelming topic. I do agree this is a very overwhelming topic. Thank goodness we still have so many of you with us. And I just want to encourage you, okay? I just want to take this time to encourage you that it's okay if this is overwhelming for you. It's okay if you're overwhelmed by the thought of emotional intimacy and physical intimacy. This is a huge, huge, huge topic. This is very triggering for people who are not trauma survivors, let alone those of us who have a past riddled with shame and guilt and molestation and mental illness and everything just from years of childhood abuse. So I just want to encourage you and tell you that you're not alone. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here with me tonight. I really, really wish that you guys could have spent some more time with Bobby, because as you know, if you're here on this channel often enough, she's amazing. And I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Trauma Recovery University TV, and look at all of our other 100 hours of teaching that we have on different topics. Unfortunately, I was doing some snooping around while I was talking, and I don't have those handy dandy slide shares that Bobby always pops up magically that talk about how we can get connected and how you can get connected into safe community, but I will go ahead and verbally tell you those things right now. So please, if you would like to get connected with us, there is an easy four-step process. First of all, if you're on YouTube right now and you're not on our Roku TV channel and you're not listening on iTunes or some other podcast platform or Facebook, then you can easily just go over to the About section of our YouTube channel, and there is an easy four-step process with links and everything, and you can just follow that process. But for those of you who are on Roku or listening, I will go ahead and let you know. What you'll do is you'll go to our page on Facebook and you'll like the work we do with survivors, if you like the work we do with survivors, just by giving us a thumbs up on our page. Then you can go to the About section there and it will walk you through on how to get plugged into Safe Community, or you can just friend Bobby and friend me. We would love to be friends with you. We're real people and here we are. We just like to hang out with you. So go to facebook.com/Bobby Parish, BOBBIPARISH, or facebook.com Dawn Athena Moberg, and just send us a friend request, and please do it in this order. I urge you to please do it in this order, because if you send me a private message on Facebook and we're not friends, it goes into some other crazy folder that I don't get like a reminder for like a year, and then I have an anxiety attack over having all these private messages that were like people needing support for like a year, and then I didn't respond to them and I just felt terrible. So please like our page, friend us, and then send us a private message that says something along the lines of, hi, I would like to heal in Safe Community, or it's nice to meet you, I saw your videos, I would like to be welcomed into one of your safe communities. So, and once you do that, then please friend both of us. Don't just friend one of us. Even though I'm the only one on this particular video, please friend both of us. And then either Bobby or myself will connect with you and we'll ask you a few questions about your recovery journey. And then we will get you plugged into whichever group we feel you would be best suited to be plugged into, depending on your abuse history. Are you healing from narcissistic abuse? Are you healing from emotional abuse, domestic violence? Would you like to be in a co-ed group? Would you like to be in a female-only group? We don't have a male-only group yet, but we're hoping like soon in future that we will. So, but we love to be welcoming in more of the male survivor community, and we're just so grateful for all of you. So also, if you are not familiar with our Twitter chats, I'll mention them once again. Mondays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, hashtag CSAQT, which stands for Child Sexual Abuse Question Time. Twitter chat number 2, no more shame. You are here. Hashtag no more shame. That is at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, and that is 2 a.m. Tuesdays, Greenwich Mean Time, for all of our UK peeps that can't sleep. And we're so sorry if you're here, because normally you're here, and there's a lot of you still here. So, and then our third Twitter chat of the week, the OG, original, hashtag Sex Abuse Chat with Rachel Thompson and Bobby Parish. And sometimes I get lucky enough to come along and guest host. Tomorrow I'm guest hosting, so I'm super excited. Hashtag Sex Abuse Chat, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. During the month of April, Child Abuse Awareness Month, you can go on Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, hashtag Survivor Steps. So those are our Twitter chats, and Roku TV, Trauma Recovery University, YouTube, Trauma Recovery University. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Athena Moberg, and Bobby is at Bobby L. Parrish, middle initial L. And you can also follow Trauma Recovery University for all of our videos and tweets and everything, the support that we put out that's just free for survivors. And that's at Trauma Recovery U. So please go hang out on one of our websites and just say hi to us. We have a little widgets on our website that allow you to communicate with us and send us messages. You can send me voice messages on my website. My website is athenamoberg.com. Bobby's website is bobbyparrish.com or thetraumarecoverycoach.com, because she is the trauma recovery coach. Or you can go to one of our business websites, which is traumarecoveryuniversity.com or nomoreshameproject.com. And then if you would like to like our business pages, that would be amazing. Bobby Parrish's business page is facebook.com/Bobby Parrish Coaching and Consulting. And mine is Athena Moberg Speaking. So actually, I just switched it back to just Athena Moberg, but my personal one's under Athena Moberg Speaking. So either way, you'll find me. Like, if you just Google Athena Moberg, you'll find all my social media stuff. And if you haven't checked out Anchor, the app where you can actually record voice messages to the world and have people actually just respond to you and share their thoughts with you, go find Anchor on the App Store. It's been pretty amazing, and the community is very, very tight-knit. And a lot of them are over on Snapchat together, just really creating amazing community. A lot of them are on Twitter together. And Bobby does Periscopes sometimes, and I think she's Bobby Parrish on Periscope. And I haven't done a blab, but I have I'm thinking of doing a blab. And I just did my very first Facebook Live video last night in one of our private coaching groups. So if you're interested in coaching and consulting by Bobby Parrish or myself, please send us an email. My email address is athenamobergspeaking@gmail.com. Bobby Parrish's email address is bobbylparrish@gmail.com. Or you can send us both an email message to our project website, which is nomoreshameproject@gmail.com. If you have suggestions for topics that you would like us to cover in future episodes of Trauma Recovery University, please send those topic suggestions to nomoreshameproject@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for being the reason we show up every single week. I am Athena Moberg, and my business partner, Bobby Parrish, who is not here to greet you personally. We absolutely love to bring you everything you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery, and it is an honor to serve this global community of adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse in 64 countries. Get the word out, share, give this video a like, share it with someone you know, tweet it out. Let's make 65 countries next week. Let's make it to 66. Our goals are huge. Our goals are huge. The global population is 7.4 to 7.6 billion. And conservatively, if you think about 1 in 6, that's 1 billion people. Bobby and I have 1 billion potential survivors that we are able to reach through social media. So we can only do that with your help. And we're just grateful. So super humbled, super grateful. Thanks for showing up, you guys. And join us next week. The topic is how to go from surviving to thriving. And I look forward to seeing you then. Hopefully see you tomorrow on Sex Abuse Chat or Wednesday at Survivor Steps. And thank you so much for being here. Aloha.